Welcome to the Headley Highlight Show's Uplifting Corner. Now, my show often talks about very serious things, and the Uplifting Corner is a different injection of energy because we need light as well as darkness. So here is this week's contribution, and I hope you like it. But before we do that, can I thank you for your listening ear and then also encourage you to donate at deniseheadley.com. I'm very partial to free wings and chips and a Miranda or a bit of Bitcoin. Sometimes helping out friends and family can give you unexpected problems and sometimes an amazing experience to remember as well. When Marion Thomas took his wife and 3 children to the Canary Islands last summer, he asked his sister, Rhiannon, if she would look after his family dog, a Labrador called Tilly. Rhiannon agreed, and with her husband Steve and their 2 children, the family was looking forward to taking care of Tilly for a short while. A few months later, prior to the holiday, Tilly had a visit to the vet, and a screen revealed that she was pregnant with a litter of 6 pups. How lovely. The due date was estimated to be after the holiday, so Tilly's family flew off to the Canaries, leaving Tilly at Rhianna's home. All was going well until 3 days before Tilly's owners were due to return. It was then that Mother Nature stepped in and Tilly started to give birth to her pups. Tilly delivered a litter of pups, but a few hours later, more pups arrived. Even this wasn't the end because in another few hours, a 3rd wave of deliveries arrived. My gosh. Finally, when Tilly went outside to apparently relieve herself, she delivered the 14th and last pup in the garden. Rhiannon said that she and her family just rallied around to care for Tilly and the pups, and she later described the whole 15-hour period as a roller coaster of emotions. Her brother was shocked to learn that Tilly had so many puppies awaiting his collection after the holiday. Having a litter of 14 pups is not a record, but is very unusual, and although the last pup delivered in the garden was brought into the house and survived, the 2 weakest pups in the litter sadly did not. However, Rhiannon's family will always remember the night they helped Tilly deliver 12 healthy puppies, one of which they later adopted and brought back after it was old enough to leave its mother. I really like that story because of my own conversion to being a dog lover. My neighbour bought a dog and she was a lovely neighbour. We would, talk and sit down and have tea and stuff like that. And when the dog arrived, I was very scared. And she helped me to really release my fears around being around dogs. I mean, I'm cool with cats and fish, yeah, because I have cats. Sorry, I have 1 cat. Can you see that? I'm still grieving for my Dexter. I have 1 cat left because my Decky passed away last year. But I have 1 cat and I have fish. But I've never had a dog. And being around her and her family and having the chance to be in close proximity, similar to that, obviously I wasn't looking after, the Blue is the dog's name, but I wasn't looking after Blue, but essentially just being around him, and my children really, well, one of my daughters especially loved dogs at the time, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm really scared of the dog, and it's like, oh mum, just come over and stroke the dog, and let Blue come and smell you, and with encouragement, I actually became more and more affectionate and less afraid of dogs because of my neighbour's relationship with me, and then her subsequently getting a pet, my relationship with her pet. And in a way, that's a similar kind of theme to this story, in the sense that you have a situation arise around you because you're in proximity to an opportunity that you may not have generated for yourself or acquired for yourself or put yourself in the way, to orbit yourself into that space, because, fear might have been ruling your life like it was with me. Fear was ruling my life about dogs, because I had been bitten about 3 times, chased God knows how many times. And as soon as I saw a dog, I would be nervous. And I know that when you're emitting the fear, fight or flight response, you release chemicals, and they can smell you. They can smell essentially the fear on you, in my opinion. And because that whole agitation, they read your body language, not just what you're saying or doing, but your smell and your micro movements and changes in your field. They can pick that stuff up. So I essentially was able to conquer that fear with the help of my neighbor and my daughter specifically, my youngest daughter, because she's a real animal lover. And I don't know, I just think that's so cool. To the extent now where in my future, I envisage having my own canine. Yes, I want a quadruped. I love that word. Means dog. Lovely. It means 4-legged animal. I want my own quadruped. I think it'd be fabulous. I've got one already because obviously I got my cat, but I like a canine quadruped, not a feline quadruped. I think that'd be cool. So yeah, I'm going to get a dog basically. And I have a vision of myself with my dog, possibly 2 dogs. In fact, I have to always go into the stratosphere, and me and my dogs, we are in a field and we're all running and crunching leaves, and I've got some dirty, muddy boots on. That's a vision for me, and I'm working towards that. So just like Tilly and Rianne, when there was an opportunity to do something which I wouldn't have done myself, and subsequently now, Tilly's in that space. She has herself one of the litters. She delivered the pups. She did that whole exercise, bringing life, supporting. It must have been, it's like, obviously it's not the same as a human, but life is life. Yeah. And now she has a different trajectory, just like me. My neighbor came in. I moved to where I moved to, had a relationship with my neighbor. She gets a dog, and years down the road, because of that therapy, I'm getting a dog. And that's it. So I hope you give yourself the chance to maybe sometimes do something different, get around people and experience a different opportunity. And you never know what could come of it. It could be the beginning of a new something, or the end of an old thing and the beginning of a new thing. How about that? Don't forget to donate, and I will see you next week. And cut!